You guys can take a seat. Hope you guys are enjoying Switch tonight. Like Jess said a little while ago, we are in the middle, or we're closing a series tonight called You Pick, where you guys have picked the message topics for this series. Last week, you picked everything we did, and I thought last week was an awesome week. And I got to say how proud I am of you guys, because I thought that last week at Switch was probably the best worship we've ever had, and that is not just because of the band, but that's because of you guys and the way you got into it and participated. So I just want to thank you guys for the way you worshiped last week, and pray you continue to do that. There's nothing like worshiping together with you guys. So tonight, we've got another topic that we're going to address in God's Word that you guys turned in. Last week, we talked about the Bible and proving the Bible is true and how we need to search for it for ourselves. And I've been praying for you all week that you didn't just hear that message and go on living the same way. I've been praying for you every day this week that you guys would open up your Word and you'd search for yourselves and you realize it's true in your life. And tonight, we're going to answer the other top choice that you guys had for this series. And we've got a very special guest that's going to come bring you that message tonight. His name is Russ, and he's a really good friend of mine. Russ has been serving at Switch since the day we kicked off. Man, he is back. He's here every week helping set up, turn this high school cafeteria into a Switch experience. He usually runs our soundboard for us. And Russ has just done a lot to help serve, not only at Switch, but across the board at our church. And so I know he's worked really hard on this message. I know he's excited to share his heart with you guys. And I want you to know that I'm excited for him to share with you guys. And I think he's going to do an incredible job. So would you guys give a Switch welcome to Mr. Russ Hopkinson?
What's up, Switch? How are you guys doing? It is good to be here, especially right now because we're in a series where you guys picked everything about it. You guys picked the games that we played, you guys picked the music that we listened to, and you guys even picked what we're about to talk about today. And as Kevin was looking through the cards that you turned in, as he was looking through the cards that you wanted us to talk about, he came up with two cards that you guys really want to talk about, two subjects that you guys want to talk about. Last week he nailed one, which was proving that the Bible is true. And that was a good question by you guys. I think he did a great job answering that. And the second one was heaven and hell. And when he saw that you turned that in, he was like, man, I am not holy enough to talk about this. He was like, man, who can I think of that's holy enough, handsome enough, smart enough to talk about this? And he thought about me. I got a phone call a couple minutes later, and I was like, yeah, Kevin, I'll cover you. I'll speak today. But in all honesty, it's great to be here with you guys tonight. I'm glad that Kevin gave me the opportunity to speak to you guys. And we are really going to be talking about heaven and hell today. But to be honest with you, I was sort of surprised when I saw that was on the top of what you guys turned in. Because it makes me think that you guys actually think about that often. And I think you guys must have been in like this church mood. You must have been thinking like, what is the right answer? What should I want them to talk about? What's a good churchy answer? Oh, you know what? I don't know a lot about heaven and hell. I'll ask that. Because honestly, we don't think about heaven and hell a lot. Like, you're not in the cafeteria, and like there's a moment of silence, you're just eating, and then somebody pops up. Hey, anybody learn anything new about heaven and hell? Oh yeah, dude, I found out about Isaiah. They call it a pit of fire. No, that doesn't happen. If you ask that question, people will look at you like you were dumb, and you might be kicked out of the cafeteria. And you're not at your friend's house playing Xbox, the new DC Comics versus Mortal Kombat game. Who knows what I'm talking about? Who knows what I'm talking about? It is going to be awesome. You got Scorpion versus Batman. Enough said. The guy who can rip your heart out of your chest versus the Dark Knight. Yeah, I'm serious. And you're not sitting there playing your Xbox and like you're Batman. It's like, oh, nunchuck, sucker. Hey, man, what do you think about hell? Oh, dude, I was reading through Revelation. That's bad. Yeah, man, I don't want to go there. And you're not Scorpion, and you're like, get over here. Kaboom, boom. You got his heart right here. It's like, okay, I'm going to preach to him right now. Hey, man, where's your heart going to be when you die? And your friend looks at you and like, he's sort of confused. And then you see tears drop from his eyes, and like, man, I just don't know. Don't know. It doesn't happen. And I'm willing to make this statement right now, and I dare you to prove me wrong. Your friend will not come to know Jesus through DC Comics versus Mortal Kombat. It's not going to happen. And prove me wrong if you can, but I doubt it. And it's not a subject that we think about. It's not a subject that pops up. And why is that? It's because that is far away. You guys are like 13 to 17, somewhere in there. You guys aren't even a fourth of the way through your life. You got like 50 more years to think about that. You want to focus on the games that you're playing. You want to focus on the relationships that you're in. You want to focus on what you can feel, what you can experience right now. You'll worry about that in the future. You'll worry about that when it matters. And I want to challenge you to think about that more than you do, because it can change your life. If you think about heaven and hell, if you think about eternity more, it will change the way that you act. And I want to give you an example about somebody who did do this. It's a guy from the Bible. Many of you have heard of Paul. And he's written a lot of these letters. Most of the New Testament is his letters to like different churches. And in one of these letters, 1 Thessalonians 4:15, if we can get it up here, it says this. And I'm not gonna focus on a lot. It's just one word that I want to focus on. It says, "We who are still living when the Lord returns." We who are still living. That word "we," it didn't say they. It didn't say those people. It said "we," as in other people and myself. That's what "we" means. Grammar 101. But he had faith that Jesus was going to come back during his lifetime. Not only that, but James chapter 4 says this. It says, do not worry about tomorrow. Do not say tomorrow I'm going to do this or that. Don't say that tomorrow I'm going to go to this city, I'm going to do business over here. Don't say that, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Because your life is like a vapor. It's here for a little bit and then it vanishes. Basically he's saying, listen, do not say that in 50 years from now, I'll start worrying about that stuff. Because you don't know if Jesus is coming back in a year or an hour. And when Jesus comes back, what is that? That's the end of the world. What's the end of the world? It's the beginning of eternity. And that's when you're going to have to decide, am I going to heaven or am I going to go to hell? That's when you have to ask yourself, where am I going at the end of my life? Where am I going? And I guess in order to understand that, in order to think about that more often, we sort of need to understand what eternity is, what is heaven and hell. And I feel like that is why you guys asked about it. Because like, you've heard stuff about heaven and hell, but you don't really have a clear view. And I'm here to explain it really quick. Eternity consists of two choices. There are only two places you can go. You can't mix and match. There's two choices. One of these choices is hell. And I was thinking about how am I going to describe hell in such a way that like you guys can understand it and it can be tangible. And I thought about what would hell be like for me. So I'm going to take you like on my imagination. Be scared, but just follow me for a little bit. All right, you're in this dark room and you got no reception. You can't get text messaging, and it's been like 5 minutes since you last talked to your girlfriend or boyfriend. It's bad news. So you're in this place and you're looking for an exit, and there's water, there's this like liquid all over the floor, and it smells nasty, and you recognize the smell, but you can't quite place it. And you're like walking around, you're trying to find a way out, and all of a sudden you see a light. And you're like, great, I'm not alone. I'm not alone, someone's here. And then you realize that that light is a match. And all of a sudden you realize what that smell is. And that smell is gasoline. And you're like, that is not good. What is a match doing in a room filled with gasoline? And all of a sudden you see that match drop. And when it hits that floor, it's just a and the whole place lights up. You catch fire, your pants are on fire, you're scurrying to get out, and you're all alone, you're calling for help. No one's coming because you got no friends there. Your phone is dead. And you're running around trying to find an exit. You hear a voice, and you're like, thank Jesus, someone's here to save me. And then you hear a guitar. Like, what's going on? And then you realize, that's Garth Brooks. So not only are you burning to death, not only are you alone, but you have to do it with country music in the background. And if you like country music, just pretend it's Kevin Wilson singing karaoke.